when we talk about the society, we're talking about the broader sphere. It has to start in families. When a baby girl is born in the family, we need to start preparing the new mothers who go to clinic to say, at this age, about 6 years, we need to start teaching the mothers on how to open up conversation to the girl learners. It has to start there.
So just the environment and how the period is perceived, male and female, because I'm not going to side away from the fact that women play a part. You know, if your mom is not going to talk to you or has had a bad experience, therefore is giving you a bad experience, that doesn't exempt her from having to be part of a discussion about being open around sanitary pads and just creating a support structure. I think support more than anything is important.
Hi ladies. Are you all well?
Yes.
So we've established that I don't bite, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to be having a very intimate conversation with all of you. And I want you to feel very free to say whatever it is that you are feeling, what is in your heart. At that point in time, I'm not here to judge, you know. We're all women, and for me, I feel like it's very important that we are able to stand by each other. You know, there's very little things that belong to us women alone without the men, you know. And being a woman starts at a very young age. And part of that is the experience of periods. I'm sure each and every one of you have had your periods, I get it.
Yes.
And we all have our own stories with regards to how we got our periods and how it made us feel, our experiences. So I would really like to hear from each and every one of you. Just stating your name and then just tell me about the first time you got your period.
Unfortunately, I can't remember mine. But working with learners, I see their experience on a day-to-day. It comes with some level of shock to most of them, particularly those that the topic was never taken through with them.
I was in grade 9. I was in class and I knew nothing about periods. My mom is a person that is not open-minded. She doesn't speak about such things. So I was in class and it was just normal school day and it was home language class. Yeah. So this is what happened. I was just sitting down and I felt like, no man, something is wrong. I am actually getting wet, but I don't know how because I will never pee on myself at this age. So I quickly went to the toilet and checked on myself. I actually touched myself and there's nothing. I went back to the class. Then came back to the class. I was terrified then. I started crying. I thought maybe I was losing my virginity while standing.
I remember growing up in deep rural Limpopo as a fragile 12-year-old, going through so many changes in my body. And one of the experiences that was so painful was menstruation.
What happened is that this year, I skipped, I think, 2 months. 2 months I didn't go, and I was scared. The first time I didn't notice that, okay, I was focusing on my studies. And then I realized that, it's been a while. And while I was expecting them to come, they didn't also. Okay, this is so wrong. Have I reached menopause?
Remember, period comes at any time. It can come during the day, at night. So those that are fortunate is when it starts in the morning. And those that are unfortunate is when it happens during the day. Because you might be at the playground, you might be seated in class, and all of a sudden you find yourself wet.
I cried for about 2 hours in the toilet. I was not found in the schoolyard, and I ran before break to the nearest teacher I knew, and I cried a lot I was afraid to speak up that I am actually coming out blood. So I cried for the longest time in history. I was terrified, scared, horrified, feeling like I can die anytime because this was not normal.
I had pains the whole day. And I was like, what is happening to me? And okay. Then when I went to the toilet, I saw the blood. I said, what's wrong? Maybe I'm hurt somewhere. What's happening to me?
Some of them, it comes as a shock to say, really, is this happening to me? So you would have to find ways of, welcoming them to their teenagehood.
I think what's so lovely is that you each have very unique stories, with regards to periods and how it affected you as individuals. Now, much like Thandeka's, I also was, going through the most during my time when I was getting my periods. I remember specifically, it was on a Saturday, we were doing laundry. I was with my mom, and there was a toilet outside because it was a small house, so our toilet was outside. And I went to the bathroom, and at some point when I was wiping myself, I realized there was blood. Yes, I knew there's something called periods, but who do I then talk to? And I remember I left my mom at home, and I got 2 rand from the kitchen, if not her bedroom, and I ran to there were these 10 places where you could go and call the public phone, and I took that 2 rand and I called my aunt, who was all the way here in Joburg as well, because she was younger. My mom is a bishop, so she's very, very strict, and I didn't really have the best of communication relationship with her.
In
general, all what these kids want is somebody that they can go and talk to when they are starting to experience this thing.
I know with regards to the opposite sex, I don't know if any of you have experienced that in front of the boys. Have they made you feel uncomfortable about it?
Even with our boys, you can imagine, obviously we're not an all-girls shelter. We have boys as well. We also taught them to say, guys, if you see Hore, Ngwanyana, Onalisteni, don't tease her, don't be like that. Talk to her, call her and be like, hey, you've got this situation, or hand her a pad, where they are in the pantry.
Maybe you ask, don't give her something begin, they find a pad. Sis, you're on a period. I think one thing we should change is to encourage the boys to stop doing that too, because we are sisters and brothers. They should understand each other's on my period. They should be able, if I'm on my period and there's no one, I on my pads so that I can be comfortable, or I work somewhere else.
In schools that is all girls, they don't experience the same shame as the one where they are involved with boys, because the boys will, the shame start with other boys seeing me, with blood and all that. So we make them aware it's a natural thing and it can happen at any time.
A lot of them were taught that a period is an illness. It was taken as there's something wrong with you and you mustn't talk about it. And that shame also was manifested just in that, to say I have something, and then don't talk about it, don't go near people.
Babona siriti sabona jwale ka basitsana siya fase because mwana a tletse o raluka a le free jaanong o swantse gore ga a dule a itshokile ga botse gore batho ba se ka mpona gore ke mo period.
For me, it's very painful experiencing that schools and the government are more susceptible to giving out condoms as opposed to giving out sanitary pads. What would you want to say to government officials, especially in the health sector, with regards to free pads for girls in schools, in malls and public spaces?
There are girls out there who are underprivileged, who can't even have that 10 or 20 rands to buy pads. So it's at some point maybe they use a tissue or they use a cloth and they get embarrassed. Obviously when they feel embarrassed, they're gonna go out there, maybe find a man who can give her money to buy those things, and that thing, it really kills the future of our young girls.
Economically wa fokola abuti jo abuti aparo le yona ya go reka sanitary pads hayiyo to such an extent ba bang batla clinic ba sa bara even a pad ba bang batla ba jeri a piece of vaslab ya tlhapa mahlo ba jeri yona ba thibile menstruation.
Yeah, it doesn't have to give free condoms because of sex is a choice, and menstruation is something that is natural.
That's very true.
It's natural, and we don't have control over it. So, like, he should always provide pads for the young ones, because of others cannot afford to buy them.
I still don't understand, and I don't get it. I don't get why it's taking so long. And with the corporates or even the departments within government giving sanitary pads here and there, I don't get why there is no decision. There's not a decision to say, guys, here's a budget. Let's roll out, free sanitary pads. And not 3 or 4 boxes per school. But as long as the child is in school, here's the provision.
Akere rena re bereka mmusho re hloka di private companies gore di tsenelle di thushe mmusho o kgona fela ganyane o ka kgona gore ngwana a tlile tleliniking a re assignments gore a tlhabiwe family planning a bone di menstruation, then re na le tša nako yona eo nka mfa 2 gore a kgone go ithusha ka nako yena eo mara ga a fitlha go gae wa o šomiša eng.
I've got 865 girls, and 50% of them, when they start their menstruation, they are going to miss a day of school. And it's not only about the period, it's also about the pace.
Like, I don't have to drop out of school because I need pads, I have to go and look for a job.
The socio-economic imbalance didn't allow me to have sanitary towels. Something as simple as a sanitary towel was luxury. It is something that can potentially stand between a girl child and her dream. Because what I resorted to every time I was on my periods was to stay at home and miss school. So 7 days out of a month, I will miss school.
We did a campaign where we would distribute sanitary pads, obviously our home being the first beneficiary, but that also opened up something that really broke my heart. So a company says this is how much they're spending on CSR, but they don't think about the fact that if you're saying I've got 500,000 and we're only distributing 3 million sanitary pads, what happens after you've distributed? It's not like the girl's gonna stop her period because you're not providing. So I found myself in a case where a lot of the schools were calling to say, are you coming back? And that thing for me just completely broke my heart to say, why is there not an urgency around provision of sanitary pads? Not just for me personally and the girls that I grew up with, but then the other girls that I got exposed to during this campaign.
I want to be comfortable of going to the clinic and finding a box of pads.
Yes.
Not of condoms. Because I've had to use toilet paper. I've had to use which is uncomfortable. I would have had infection. Yeah, so it's very hard. So I think pads should be like free everywhere. They should be free.
Remember, menstruation on its own need a lot of hygiene. You should be having your own bath towel, you should be having soap. And if those things are not accessible, then that's where the challenge is.
This imbalance to this day perplexes me. I still do not understand why the government cannot respond to our call and make sanitary towels freely available, affording each and every young girl an equal opportunity to her male counterparts, never to miss school. Because of a menstruation she cannot postpone, because of a menstruation she did not choose to have, because of changes that her body goes through that are not elective.
Ladies, thank you so much for being open and honest. I know this was not easy, but I really, like you said, we are the future of South Africa. It's tomorrow. And if we don't unite and stand together and make sure that our voices are heard, nobody will do it for us. And the men are clearly not even on number one on the list. It's up to us to even make the older generation, because they don't have anyone to speak to and they never had knowledge of it growing up. We are in the now. We are the millennial kids that are now open to seeing more things on social media around us, and also with regarding to speaking about things, we are more open. So it's up to us, honestly, to make sure that the government hears us, and not just hear, they listen. And you guys are going to literally be part of the reason why I feel personally that come by fire, by force, they will listen. Thank you so much, girls.
I think the most important role that every person can play is making them aware that there's nothing wrong with you going through your menstruation. And we're hoping that this conversation can be taken openly.
It is a personal call because it's an experience I lived through, and it's a commitment I made to myself that I'll stand in the gap for those who cannot speak for themselves. Because as society, sometimes we marginalize and we discount and disfranchise those who do not have the same resources, those who are not as exposed as we are.
Companies should get involved, and not just by ticking off to say these are the big points that we need, but because they've removed this side of being intellectuals and we are now being more humans. Because at the end of the day, that's what we need, right? I think if we can all play our parts in supporting, giving when we can, and really just caring, those who are less fortunate with us. I think it helps. We can't take care of all the issues, but if you have a company, or you have a voice, or you have means to give to certain causes, I think that goes a long way.